what's up? Today's video, it's going to be my August haul and my September TBR. So let's just get right on into this. First of all, I have some books here. Now, I actually put in an order for a few more books, but they have not arrived yet. I have my Book of the Month books, which are always so fun for me. So this month I got Sweet Little Lies by Kaz Freer. This is a murder mystery thriller style thing. The person who was murdered was a friend of our main character years and years ago, and then they get this mysterious call, and so now they have to figure out if she's missing or if she's dead or what have you. So it's a thriller, an adult thriller. And I freaking love Book of the Month. If you guys watch these hauls every month, then you've already heard this spiel, but Book of the Month is really cool. I'm not an affiliate or anything, but I just really love it. It's the only subscription box that I've ever consistently paid for. You pay $14.99 a month, and that gets you one full hardcover, usually adult novel, which this one is priced at $26.99 US, so you're getting a discount. And then if you want to add more books like I did this month, then it's $10.99 for each book, and you can add up to 3 extra ones or 2 extra ones, I think, per month. And if you don't like the options for the month, you can skip that month. You've already paid for it, but the following month you won't pay, and then the credit rolls over so that you can get a book next month instead without paying. So if you are interested in Book of the Month, I do have a referral code down below, so that will get you an extra book the first time you order, and it also gives me a free book. So it's not an affiliate link. Everyone gets one of the referral codes when they sign up, so once you sign up, you get one too. And yeah, so if you're interested, I would love if you use that code, because then I get a free book and it helps me out and my bank account out as well. But I also ended up getting Hunger by Roxane Gay this month, which is a memoir of my body. So Roxane explores what it means to be overweight in a time when the bigger you are, the less you are seen. So it's, I'm really interested in reading this. I've heard great things about it. I probably will be reading this in October. And I actually might try to find the audiobook of this like on Hoopla or something, because I love listening to memoirs if they're narrated by the author, and I don't know if this one is, but I'm curious to see. So those are the 2 books I got from Book of the Month. I also picked up from the library 2 books, one of which is The Raven Boys, which I'll be discussing in my wrap-up because this was the Sassy Book Club Book of the Month for August. But I picked up The Raven Boys, and then from the library I also picked up The Upside of Unrequited by Becky Albertalli, and this is a little sneak peek in the end of this video, which will be my TBR because I haven't picked this up yet, but I got this from the library. So if you didn't know, Barnes & Noble had a 50% off book blowout sale last week. It was 1 week long, and it was only select books. So I went and took a look over there. One of the books that I have not actually received yet is this cover of Strange the Dreamer, because I currently own this cover of Strange the Dreamer, and I love this book so much that I decided to buy the soft cover version of the other cover because I really love it, and I can't wait for Muse of Nightmares. So I'm getting that in the mail. I also got a few more books, and that'll just be in my September haul because I don't off the top of my head remember what they are. But in the order where I got Strange the Dreamer, I also decided to pick up Neverworld Wake by Marisha Pessl, which is a young adult thriller as well, and Marisha Pessl is the one who wrote Night Film, which I did really enjoy, so I'm curious to see how she does in a young adult setting. And then I also picked up The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang, which has been making the rounds all over in BookTube and everything. This is an adult fantasy novel, and it's apparently really intense as far as rape and stuff like that goes, so there's a lot of trigger warnings on this book, but having heard a bunch of the reviews, I'm really excited to pick this up. It sounds amazing. The cover is beautiful. The last book I have here I was sent for in order to... This is what happens when you live in a big city. The last book I have here was sent to me in exchange for an honest review, so I will be picking this up probably in September, if not in October. But this is the sequel to The Seafarer's Kiss, The Navigator's Touch by Julia Ember. So Julia Ember wrote The Seafarer's Kiss, which was one of the, I think it was a Bibliothon book, group book, but it might have been a Bibliobook Club, I'm not sure, but we read it all together. The first book is a Norse mythology retelling of The Little Mermaid, and kind of like a beginnings of the Sea Witch, like how she became the Sea Witch type of book, and so this is a companion novel sequel. It says inspired by Norse mythology and J.M. Barrie's Peter Pan, this companion novel to Seafarer's Kiss is a tale of vengeance, valor, honor, and redemption. So I won't read the rest of it because it'll spoil the first one probably, but I'm interested in it, definitely. I liked the first book. I had my issues with the first book as well, and if you are interested in watching the live show, there is one up on the Bibliobook channel, so I can link that down up there. But yeah, so definitely planning on reading this soon. With that beautiful transition, let's head on into the September TBR. September is going to be a little bit insane. Because there are lots of read-alongs and readathons and things like that. So this TBR is not including my contemporary-athon TBR, but it does include all of the books that I want to read this month other than what's on my contemporary-athon TBR. So starting off, I would like to read this in September. It comes out in September as well, I believe. But I don't know off the top of my head. I think it comes out in late September. So I'd like to read this before it comes out if possible. The next two books are books from these different live shows and things. So first of all, I am going to be rereading Nevernight by J. Kristoff, which I read when it came out. But I'm actually currently reading this. I'm listening to it on audiobook this time around because I didn't do that last time. I have a signed copy. There you go. I have the signed copy, which is cool. And I'm not a part of any of the read-along or live show or anything, but I'm just following along with Katrina and Piera, who are doing a Nevernight and God's Grave read-alongs in September and in October. And I haven't read God's Grave yet, so I definitely want to hang up on that. And I haven't read this in a while, so I decided to give it a reread. Next read-along that I am joining, I will be a part of the live show, and it is for Strange the Dreamer by Laini Taylor. Katrina is also hosting a read-along for Strange the Dreamer and then Muse of Nightmares, which will be next month. The live show for this and for Muse of Nightmares are going to be combined, and it's going to be at the end of October. I think it's the last Saturday of October. I want to annotate it, which I don't usually do, but because I'm getting another copy, I feel less scared. I've never annotated a book before though, like a book that wasn't a school book. So I'm really nervous to do it, but like also excited. Like I said earlier, I also want to get to The Upside of Unrequited by Becky Albertalli in September. This is a fun little contemporary. I believe that the characters in this book are like cousins of Abby from Simon versus the Homo Sapiens, and it's just about a girl who has a bunch of crushes but has never been crushed on, as far as she knows at least. I also have my Sassy Book Club Book of the Month, which I am going to be getting, but I have not received it yet, so that'll be in the September haul. Heretics Anonymous. This is a contemporary novel about a bunch of kids who go to a Catholic school, and they join this club where they all have different religions that don't necessarily follow the Catholic schools program. Basically a bunch of kids who have different religions and they're all in one club and they discuss it a lot, and I'm really curious about this one. Last book that I know I have on my TBR other than my TBR jar and something new I'm doing this month is going to be The Dream Thieves by Maggie Stiefvater. I read The Raven Boys for the Sassy Book Club in August and I did really like it. You'll get to hear more during my wrap up, but I really loved it. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars, and so I will be continuing on with the series next month myself, and I'm super intrigued by it. Now we gotta pick my TBR jar. If you don't watch my hauls and TBRs regularly, then you may not know how I do this, but this is my TBR jar. In the TBR jar, I have papers that show me what shelf and what number book I need to go pick out, and it's always on this side because these are mostly unread books and these are mostly read books. There's a few in between that are not quite right, but that's all right. So I pick 3 out, and then I guarantee one of those will be read, and I just pick whichever one I choose throughout the month based on my, you know, feelings. Firstly, shelf 3, book number 14. The shelf number 3 is my classics shelf, and so I got out The Hobbit by J.R.R. Tolkien. I'm nervous about this one. I've never read J.R.R. Tolkien, and classics freak me out. Number 4, 7, and I did include the space that was here next to the book that I had because there is supposed to be a book there, but I've pulled them out for videos. So if I included that, it actually landed on a sequel, but so I pulled out The Magician King by Lev Grossman, and this is an adult fantasy novel that I've heard be compared to Harry Potter. I think The Magicians is the first one. So whichever the first one is, I think it's The Magicians actually, now that I'm looking at them and thinking about it. I think this is the first one, so whatever it is, I'm gonna read the first one because that makes sense to me. And then the last one was Shelf 5, number 12, and again I did count a space because there should be a book there, but it's down here. And number 12 was the sequel, This Shattered World by Amy Kaufman and Megan Spooner, and I actually read the first one last month for my TBR jar pick. So I think I'm going to end up picking this one just because how perfect is that to continue on with the series even though they were accidents basically. So yeah, probably gonna pick this one. And the last thing I want to do is something new, and I got this idea partially from a few different booktubers. The main one is going to be, I'm going to say that Murphy from Murphy Napier was really inspirational for this idea, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick 3 random numbers off of a random number generator and then go find those numbers on my Goodreads TBR, which are mostly books that I don't own and that I just, when I watch booktube videos or anything like that, if somebody mentions a book that I don't own, haven't heard of, etc., I just go and put in to be read or want to read on Goodreads so that I can have this list. And I haven't really done anything with this list yet, so I've decided that that's what I'm gonna do. Then of those 3 videos, this is where my inspiration from Murphy comes in. I'm gonna put up a poll here and you guys are gonna pick which book I should read out of the 3 that I pick randomly. So get ready, I'm excited to try this out. So want to read, I have 452 books on this want to read list. Now I did relatively recently go through this list and I got rid of a bunch of books that I was no longer interested in, because I've had this list since I found Goodreads, which was when I started making booktube videos 4 years ago. So that's how long this list has been being curated, and then I have gone through it a few times and gotten rid of books if I'm no longer interested. But overall, these books, I'm interested in all of them. So I have 452 books. I'm going to generate number 100. Book number 1 choice is Belzhar. I'm gonna generate another number, 365. Oh, Night of Cake and Poppets by Laini Taylor. And last one, number generator, number 452. So what was the last book I put on my TBR? It is Goodbye Perfect by Sarah Bernard. I know this book is a retelling or something connected to the Belzhar. I'm just gonna read these out to you. If life were fair, Jam Gallahue would still be at home in New Jersey with her sweet British boyfriend, Reeve Maxfield. She'd be watching old comedy sketches with him. She'd be kissing him in the library stacks. She certainly wouldn't be at the Wooden Barn, a therapeutic boarding school in rural Vermont, living with a weird roommate and signed up for an exclusive mysterious class called Special Topics in English. But life isn't fair and Reeve Maxfield is dead. Until a journal writing assignment leads Jam to Belzhar, where the untainted past is restored and Jam can feel Reeve's arms around her once again. But there are hidden truths in Jam's path to reclaim her loss. So that sounds intriguing. Sort of like magical realism. I see that Chelsea from Chelsea Darling Reads gave it a 3.75 stars, so that's good. It sounds kind of like creepy, mystery, magical realism, paranormal style story. I'm not gonna read this because it could be spoilery if you haven't read the Daughter of Smoke and Bone series, but I freaking love this series. It's amazing. If you haven't read it yet, please go read it. But the Night of Cake and Puppets is a novella that goes along with this story, and it follows the main character's best friend, Susanna, and then her person, and it sounds so cute. I keep seeing it, but I've never thought to actually read it before. So I'm excited that that's on there. If I remember correctly, I got this book from Murphy Napier, if I remember correctly. So this one's synopsis says, Eden McKinley knows she can't count on much in this world, but she can depend on Bonnie, her solid, steady, straight-A best friend. So it's a bit of a surprise when Bonnie runs away with the boyfriend Eden knows nothing about 5 days before the start of their GCSEs, especially when the police arrive on her doorstep and Eden finds out that the boyfriend is actually their music teacher, Mr. Cohn. sworn to secrecy and bound by loyalty. Only Eden knows Bonnie's location, and that's the way it has to stay. There's no way she's betraying her best friend, not even when she's faced with the police questioning suspicious parents and her own growing doubts. As the days pass and things begin to unravel, Eden is forced to question everything she thought she knew about the world, her best friend, and herself. So if I remember correctly, both from this synopsis and from watching Murphy's video, this book is all about the power dynamic when you're in this relationship with student-teacher, with, you know, grown adult versus not grown adult, etc, etc. And there's like some mystery and stuff involved with how the story is going along, so that sounds interesting too. All of these books I'd be really excited to read, so I'm going to put the poll up here and you guys can vote on what I read, and then during the wrap up you'll find out what I decide to read. You can also follow me on Instagram and Twitter, and I will always post stuff like that on there. But that is going to be the end of this video, so I'm super excited for the books I have, for options this month, for what I have just gotten in the mail and things like that book-wise. September is going to be so busy. I just started school, so I'm trying not to think about that, but yeah. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Give it a thumbs up if you did. Make sure to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and you can always hit the notification bell to be notified every time I post a video. But I make videos every Wednesday and Saturday, so I'll see you guys very soon with a new one. Bye! I wish I could